Iguodala to Curry, back to Iguodala, up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James. Curry, one-on-one. Irving puts it up. It's good. Kyrie Irving from downtown. The three, step back, crossover, puts up a three. Rebound James. Second. It's over. It's over. Cleveland is the city of champions once again. The Cavaliers are NBA champions.
Cleveland! This is for you!
What's up, Cavs fans? Welcome into the Block the Shot to Stop. Here, as always, Skylar Webker, and I am Kevin Lynch, here to talk about the most enigma team in the NBA, the Cleveland Cavaliers. Coming off of a doubleheader with the Minnesota Timberwolves that they split, they lose the first, they win the second. We'll go over both games as well as, kind of what else is going on with the Cavs and preview the upcoming schedule. But Skylar, how are we doing today? How are we feeling after this split and the bitter cold in the Midwest on this fine Sunday morning?
I feel optimistic. I feel good. Not just this series, but if you zoom out a little bit, the Cavs are starting to put some things together. They're finally in a positive point differential. They're in a playoff spot right now. Granted, it's the 6th seed, but that's better than play in where we've been sitting all year. So
right,
they're starting to turn things around. There are still a lot of areas that need improved, though.
Yep. I mean, I think that's fair. And you're right. They've now won, I believe, 5 of their last 7 games off of a stretch in their schedule that we thought would be fairly difficult. I mean, they got a couple of breaks. Nikola Jokic missing the Denver game is obviously you get a little lucky along with being good. But yeah, I think we talked about going into these games on our last episode. If they split these 2 games and they look pretty good, we'll be happy. We'll be satisfied with that. And that's pretty much exactly what happened. And I'm somewhat happy. I think per usual, you're a little bit happier than I am. But I guess before we get into the individual games, is that right? I guess how happy are you with the way the overall this 2-game series went?
I'm a lot happier on how the second game went because
sure.
Everything was incredible that second game. The first game sputtered a little bit, lost it in a quarter. So it felt like a winnable game if they didn't just completely spiral in that third quarter. But yeah, there are some good things happening. And I actually have a couple of fun stats for you there, Kevin. First is that Sam Merrill, over the past 5 games, has been shooting 23 of 43 from 3. That's a 58% clip that Sam Merrill is shooting, which is incredible for a guy who's a high volume 3-point shooter to be hitting 58% is really, really awesome. And you can tell when he came back how that changed the offensive flow of this team.
For sure. I was kind of looking at some Sam Merrill stuff and didn't go quite as deep as you, but I was looking at just like his last few games. I'm like, it feels like Sam's doing a lot these last few games. He's hit at least 5 3-pointers in each of the last 5 games. The last 4 games, he's been at or above 50% shooting from 3. He even if you go back, he had the one kind of off game against the Spurs when otherwise the Cavs played really well. Before that, you're looking at like 3-pointers made. He's at multiple every game. There's at least there's several games of at least 3 or more, all since he came back from this wrist injury. And he definitely, I think Sam's one of those guys who's a very good player, but even more than how good a player is, he's more important on this team just because of what he provides and how they're kind of lacking it from other parts of the roster right now with the spacing, with the movement, 3-point shooting. There's, other than him and Donovan Mitchell, nobody's really like moving into a 3-point shot and then hitting it consistently. So I think Sam has obviously been a huge part of their success. And kind of with that, let's just dive into the game to set it up. That game 1 is the game the Cavs lose against Minnesota. They lose 131-122. As Skylar alluded to, it was a really competitive, really good game with the exception of the third quarter. We talked about on recent episodes, the Cavs were worst second quarter team in the NBA. Well, they survived or did well in the second quarter against Minnesota in both these games. But the third quarter, they get outscored 43-22. So they're a minus 21. And all the numbers are ugly. They're a -5 in assists, -7 in rebounds. Like Minnesota hit 78% of their threes. They were 7 for 9 on threes. And they, frankly, in this quarter, were getting wide open 3-pointers and wide open layups. And the broadcast was even calling it out that they needed to do like that. Minnesota was just getting very easy offense. So we'll go through the game overall, but let's start with that third quarter. What do you think happened? Do you have any reason for why the wheels just fell off in that third quarter?
I don't have any specificities, but I have a positive stat and a not positive stat to back this up.
Okay.
The Cavs have only lost one game when they go into the fourth quarter leading. So if they can just piece together a good second quarter and a good third quarter, they have such a high likelihood of winning games. One loss all season where they've gone into the fourth quarter with a lead. The problem, especially in this Timberwolves game, they are dead last in the league in 3-point percentage allowed by the opponent. So they 38.5. I mean, dead last in 3-point percentage. They are just not guarding the perimeter like they were last year. They're letting high volume, high percentage shots go up. And we saw that in that third quarter where things really, really just spiraled away from them.
Yeah. The first stat you gave about they've only lost once when leading going in the fourth quarter makes total sense to me, because so many of the games they lose, I call this team like the toddlers. Sometimes they like just play with their food. They like all of a sudden they just lose focus, lose aggressiveness or something. And then all of a sudden they have a really bad quarter or even a, 5-minute stretch where they get outscored by double digits. And then they have to make these huge heroic comebacks in the fourth quarter, typically led by Donovan Mitchell. And they get really close, they run out of gas, and then they lose a tighter game than it was. So that makes total sense to me that when they actually are playing well and taking a lead into the fourth quarter, they win virtually all the time. In this game, I had a couple theories. I mean, the biggest one, which we haven't mentioned yet, is Kenny Atkinson makes another change to the starting lineup, and the starting lineup changes virtually every game, and a lot of it's due to injury. So, but this one was experimental. He put Craig Porter Jr. in the starting lineup with Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, and then Allen and Mobley. I think just about everyone saw that and raised an eyebrow, because we've lauded, as well as everybody has lauded Craig Porter Jr., his contributions have been fantastic as of late, but he's the third guard. He's the guy who comes in for Garland or Mitchell, and to play three guys who are all really 6'2" or shorter against a really big athletic Minnesota team made virtually no sense. And while they came back in the first quarter, they were right out of the gate. They were down close to double digits with that lineup. And then in the third quarter, the lineup was what was I going to say? I want to say it was like a -12 in the first 5 minutes of the third quarter. It was really, really bad. Exactly. Yeah. -12 in the first 5 minutes of the quarter. So why did Kenny decide to mess with a good thing that he had discovered with Craig Porter Jr. being a regular rotation and instead put him in as the fifth starter with the core four?
It doesn't make a lot of sense because for Craig Porter Jr., we never praise his scoring ability. It's always all the other things that you're already getting from Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell. You're already getting those things. You needed a scorer on that rotation, like a Sam Merrill, or I would even put a Jaylon Tyson in there. Somebody that has that scoring ability. So to have kind of a non-scoring threat out there, having a very undersized 3 in Donovan Mitchell, it was confusing. It was very, very confusing.
Yeah, I got stuck more on the second part. You said like just the undersized, and decide to go undersized against a Minnesota team that is frankly really big for the most part. Even like everyone in their starting lineup is 6'3" or taller. Then you start that lineup, you're asking one of your small guards to contend with Anthony Edwards, who is a 6'6", ultra elite athlete player. Yeah, and it made like I was more on your Merrill I'd have been fine with. I thought Tyson would have made more sense because Tyson's their best matchup for big physical wings like Edwards. So yeah, that I don't know. I mean, and I what I didn't like is it put Craig Porter Jr. in a terrible situation. Honestly, like he didn't play well, but I almost don't blame him. I think he was put in a really bad position. Whereas you discover, or like you finally kind of made the change to playing him regular rotation minutes, and you're having a lot of success. Like frankly, I think it was kind of a little bit of a too ambitious move by Kenny Atkinson, and maybe too much of an ask of Craig Porter Jr. after he just got inserted into the rotation the last handful of games. Now you're asking him to start and guard Anthony Edwards. I mean, it's pretty tough.
Especially against, like you said, the Minnesota Timberwolves with a superstar with like big athletic bigs.
Yeah.
Like if you were going to try this on like Charlotte or, Atlanta, like try it on those teams. Don't try it on the Timberwolves.
Right. Yeah. And unfortunately, that first few minutes of the third quarter kind of sealed the fate of the game. I mean, the Cavs, and I think that's why it's frustrating, is the Cavs were plus 12 in the other three quarters combined.
Mm-hmm.
But when you get outscored by 21 points in a quarter, like you have to almost be perfect the rest of the game to have a chance to win. And they were honestly very good the other three quarters, but not perfect. And it was a frustrating loss. And we'll call a couple like the individual contributions. Donovan Mitchell had a really great game, continues to just tear up the league. 30 points, 7 rebounds, 8 assists. I really liked both games that he had against Minnesota, and we'll talk about the other one in a second. Just like I thought he balanced scoring and playmaking about as well as he can. And I'll read off a couple of names and whoever you want to focus on. I mean, we've already talked about Sam Merrill. Sam was great in this game. He hit 5 3-pointers on his way to 22 points. Evan Mobley with 19, DeAndre Hunter with 14, Jared Allen double 11 and 10. Jared and Darius Garland both really high in the negative plus minus. Or Jared's the negative 29, Darius is a negative 24, and Craig Porter Jr., as we talked about, was negative 17. So any individuals you want to talk about from this game?
We can start with DeAndre Hunter. I thought he was great coming off the bench. I think he's getting into his role of what he needs to be, which is kind of a 3-and-D guy, coming with 7 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, and 14 points. Pretty efficient night with 6 of 11 shooting. So, and the 3-point shooting attempts are significantly down from the beginning of the year, where it felt like that's the only thing he shot.
Yeah.
So I like DeAndre Hunter morphing back into what we need him to be, which is that 3-and-D wing off the bench, and sticking to it.
Yeah, so I liked DeAndre Hunter's performance in this game as well. Like you said, balanced attack, didn't rely just on the 3-point ball, was aggressive getting to the basket, had a lot of like, short pull up jumpers, floaters that I love when he attacks the basket more. He continues to be kind of Jekyll and Hyde though, and we can talk about that when we talk about the next game. Just like I feel like he can't find consistency in his game. His effort is inconsistent at times. That being said, like, and that's why you get frustrated with DeAndre Hunter, because you see games like this where it wasn't even like his best game by any means, but you see enough of the ability to do exactly what the Cavs need. And then you don't get it at other times. You don't get him contributing on the boards, or you don't get him locked in defensively or things like that. So I agree with you. I really liked his performance in this game. I continue to be overall a little bit underwhelmed with DeAndre because he's making $23 million a year, and you need more than the 4-2-2 he gives you in the following game that we're about to talk about.
Yeah, I agree. And you got to think that Kenny and Kobe Altman are thinking the same thing. For $23 million, they need more than that.
Yep. Well, we talked about this game enough. Maybe it was, like I said, it was a really good game and fun to watch for a lot of it. It was just kind of frustrating that the Cavs continue to kind of let one quarter dictate the outcome of the game on some of these losses. But luckily, as we move on to the latter half of the doubleheader, they did not do that in yesterday's game. They put on offensive explosion, one of their best offensive games of the year, winning 146-134. They had 5 guys scored 20 or more points, and that's not including Jared Allen, who also had a really good game, 16 points, 11 rebounds, 4 assists. They kind of did the opposite in this game. They kind of ruled the third quarter. They were plus 10 in the third quarter. They shot the absolute heck out of the ball. They forced some turnovers and got out on the break in this quarter. Which I thought they forced 5 turnovers in a quarter, which is really good, and scored off of just about all of them. So I mean, why was the offense so good? Because Minnesota's a really good defensive team. I think they're like 5th in the league in defensive efficiency. Like why did the Cavs explode like this, and why don't they just do it all the time?
Well, I don't know why they can't do it all the time. I'll start with one. Donovan Mitchell wasn't playing the 3.
Yeah,
that's one point, but
that helps.
Yeah, Kenny went back to the traditional lineup, which I think helps because you got guys in their roles doing what they should be doing.
Yeah.
You saw Craig Porter Jr. 26 minutes, didn't give you any scoring, but he still gave you 6 boards and 2 assists and a steal, which is leaps and bounds better than when you put him in the starting lineup. So
yeah,
I think you had a lot of guys in their roles. And I think I think the Cavs are trying to, or maybe by accident, turning themselves into a series team. Like, we can beat you in a series. We can learn from what our matchup was, adjust, and blow the doors off the next time, which is a little bit encouraging if you get into a series, coming into the playoffs. But you still got to make it there, which they're in a playoff seat now. But this was the Cavs that we've been dying to see like all season long, and in some seam of consistency.
For sure. You couldn't be more right about this. And pull up some highlights to share while we're talking about it. But they check that. I'll bring those back up in a second. But they I still don't know if Sam Merrill is the perfect 5th guy with the big 4, if I'm being honest. Sorry, quick technical difficulty, but yeah, the I don't know if Sam Merrill is the perfect 5th next to the big 4. I think that'll put them in a tough defensive matchups in against certain teams. But if you can get offense like this, if you can get 146 points and Sam Merrill shooting above 50% from 3 and hitting 6 of them a game, and you get some of the additional offensive benefits of the lane opens up more for Evan Mobley and Donovan Mitchell, then maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe the best thing to do is sacrifice a little bit of defensive flexibility to just try and run up the score as high as you can and play a shootout.
I mean, it's worked. It's worked so far. I mean, if you can get this type of scoring from Sam Merrill, and I would put Sam Merrill and Donovan Mitchell in kind of the only 2 consistencies that we've had this year. Sam Merrill shooting has been excellent. Donovan Mitchell's entire game has been excellent. So I'm fine having Sam Merrill in with these other 4 if it's consistent. That's one thing we lack in DeAndre Hunter, like we just said, is some sort of consistency in these.
Yeah, and is Sam Merrill really that much less physical or better defender than Max Strus? Because really, that's who they've been playing musical chairs trying to replace all season, right?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe not. Maybe this is your best bet, because you have been getting inconsistent play from that fifth starter spot, or and at times Jaylon Tyson has been absolutely phenomenal, and I still think he could be that fifth starter with the core four when everyone's healthy. But maybe you do run it with Sam, try and spark the offense as much as you can, and then have a lot of your bigger, more physical wings to come in on rotations, a few minutes into the game.
Yeah, I mean, I think they still need some help on the bigger physical wings.
Yeah.
But as far as the defensive effort, I think I would be playing Jaylon Tyson more than DeAndre Hunter. But
Yeah.
that's just like I said, go back to the consistency. The one thing that's never fell off in Jaylon Tyson's game has been his defense.
I agree with you. And while we're brought up Jaylon Tyson, I had some notes, so a little bit under the radar because the Cavs had been playing pretty well and there were other storylines, but Jaylon Tyson's scoring had really fallen off the last 4 games. Last 4 games, he's only averaging 5 points a game. And that's after we were regularly seeing him score 15, 20, up to 25 points a game a lot of times. So I was really glad to see in this game, his scoring came back along with a lot of the other kind of intangibles, the defense that you talked about that he had. He ends up with 23 points on 9 of 12 shooting, hit 4 threes, continues to just be an absolute marksman from the 3-point line. And, as much as you can say you're a little bit frustrated giving up 131 and 134 to Minnesota, again, Kenny always leans towards offense. He's always an offensive first coach. And if given a choice, he's going to make the choice that makes them a better offensive team than a better defensive team. But Jaylon is one of those guys that you don't necessarily have to make that choice on. If he can get his offense going again, like he had it in this game, along with everything else he gives you, now we're talking about something. Now we're talking about having an elite offense and an ability to dig in defensively when you need to.
Yeah, and I think he's a guy that benefits a lot from Craig Porter Jr. in the sense of how we saw Jared Allen's game completely be dependent on Darius Garland.
Yeah.
I think we're seeing a little bit of that with Craig Porter Jr. and Jaylon Tyson. I mean, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but a very high number of Jaylon Tyson's assists, Craig Porter Jr.'s assists with 8 assists. A lot of those were Jaylon Tyson be able to knock something down from either how Craig Porter Jr. broke a defense or drove to the hole. There was a lot of those two play well together. So if I'm Kenny, I want to keep those two kind of on the similar rotations.
Yeah. Craig is very good at breaking down defense and setting guys up. I actually think he has more ability to score the ball than he shows a lot of times, but I feel like naturally defers to some of the other guys on the team and more looks to set people up, which again is fine. But yes, Craig absolutely set up not only Jaylon, but a couple of wide open 3-point shots with his penetration. He also got it in the lane and drop off to Jared Allen and multiple times to Evan Mobley. I believe Evan Mobley set his career tied his career high in dunks in a game with 7 dunks in this game. I'm telling you, you're going to win most games when Evan Mobley dunks 7 times, and Jared Allen probably had at least 3 too. So yeah, I'm so happy to see Craig he was 0 for 4 shooting, but 6 rebounds and 8 points off the bench, 8 assists off the bench is fantastic. And him playing like that is selflessly and setting others up well. That's how you end up with like 5 guys with 20 points and 20 points or more, 6 guys with 16 or more points. Scoring was a little bit consolidated at the top of the, top of the box score in this one, but I don't think the contributions necessarily were.
No, I would agree. I think just this is the offense that the Cavs need to find a way to sustain, I would say.
Yeah.
You don't have to put up 146 every night, but it's got to look as seamlessly and flawlessly as it did in the second game against the Timberwolves.
Yeah, and I'm going to blow your socks off with this. So I do think part of the reason the Cavs kind of resurgence, winning this 5-7 offense looking better, they're controlling the 3-point attempts. We've talked about this before, but like they've actually, for the season, just in the last 7 games, they've dropped from 44.5 attempts to now 42. They've gone down 2.5 attempts. In this game, they scored 146 points, only shooting 31 3-pointers. They
love it.
They took the right looks, and of those 31, I mean, how many did Sam Merrill take? Like the guys taking it, like Donovan Mitchell took 10, Sam Merrill took 16. So half of the 30, you only shoot 31, and half of those are by Mitchell and Sam Merrill. With all due respect to Jaylon Tyson and his percentage, those are by far your 2 best 3-point shooters on this team. Yeah. So I don't know. I think it's one solution that is super obvious, that this team just plays a lot better when it controls when it's more opportunistic with the 3-point shooting than like making it the number one thing they rely on for offense.
Absolutely. We've been talking about that, months now, where we're saying they're not driving to the hole. They're not, pick and roll into the dunker spot. They're not breaking down a defense. They were all just kind of hovering around the 3-point line, and they're finally catching on to what we've been saying. And you can see how much easier like this game felt effortless. Like it felt like an effortless win because of how efficient they were. I mean, they didn't win this game at the line. They only shot 25 at the line. So like you alluded to, 25 at the line, 31 from 3. They were moving the ball and getting the easy looks, the easy dunks, the layups. Like they flipped the script in this game, and that is encouraging if you can keep it going like that.
Yeah, a couple of numbers that shot out to me, like the Cavs shot 60% overall from the field, 66% on 2-pointers, which is absolutely phenomenal. Minnesota wasn't far behind them. They shot 57% from the field, 61% on 2-pointers, 50% on threes. Like, when you win a game, when the other team's offense is going that well, and you can't really stop them defensively, that says you're really, really going on offense. And this is as good a game, maybe the best offensive game that the Cavs have had this year. The other thing that really stuck out to me, I went back and looked. These two teams, both of them average 45 rebounds a game total as a team, right? So that's 90 rebounds between them. In this game, there was only 71 rebounds available. So while the Cavs got out rebounded by 9, when you're just making so many shots that there's so few rebounds going around, like that's a way to make the rebounding game, a little bit less relevant, right? It's just make all your shots. Seems easy.
It's a way to take, Rudy Gobert and Julius Randle out of the game, basically.
Yes. Alrighty. So any final thoughts on this game? This is a really fun one to talk about, but we can get to moving on. If you got any last thoughts, Skylar, before we do?
Keep this going.
Yeah.
You found something, keep this going.
Yeah, I seriously, I really like the rotations that they did in this game, the contributions that they did, with the exception of, you'll obviously work Dean Wade into some minutes when he is healthy, but other than that, learn something from this game instead of making it an aberration, make it a launching point, right?
Exactly.
So with that, I was gonna take a quick look at the upcoming schedule this week with the Cavs. So they have a nice matchup tomorrow night, Monday the 12th, at home against the Utah Jazz. Utah has actually been, when you think about the Utah Jazz for the last few years, you automatically think of like worst team, one of the worst teams in the NBA. They're a little bit better than that. Lauri Markkanen's probably going to make the All-Star team. He's been phenomenal. They got Keyshawn George is, I think, the second-year guard who's been phenomenal for them as well. So they're playing a lot of competitive thing. They're on right on the fringe of being a play-in team in the Western Conference. So I wouldn't say an easy game, but still a matchup that you expect to do well in at home.
They just lost by almost 60 to Charlotte.
They did that game that game happened, I think, last night. So yeah, I'm not saying they're the best team. They have good every night. But
no, but I'm saying they're probably going to come in with a little bit of piss and vinegar about that
sure.
loss.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, they're like I said, they're a team. If the Cavs play anything like they did in this game yesterday, they should be able to take care of business. If they take them lightly, be unfocused like they have too often this season, it's a game that could give them real trouble.
Yep.
And then I do want to go ahead and preview. They have another doubleheader. The NBA is loving their doubleheaders this season. Wednesday and Friday against the Philadelphia 76ers. Philadelphia, who has been they were the team probably more than anyone in the NBA this year that you didn't know what to think of them coming into the year, because they have Paul George and Joel Embiid, who you have no idea if they're going to be healthy, be able to, what kind of contributions they'll be able to have. Tyrese Maxey's amazing. Other than that, they have a lot of young players or role players. You didn't quite know how they would go. Well, they've been having a great season. They've actually slipped a little bit recently, but they're 5th in the East. They're 21-15. Tyrese Maxey is playing out of his mind. He's one of the breakout players in the NBA this year. VJ Edgecombe, their rookie, they're getting young Dwayne Wade comparisons, and then even Joel Embiid and Paul George have started looking healthier and making contributions. So this is a really interesting doubleheader and timing of the doubleheader, because they're the team that's directly in front of the Cavs in the standings right now. They're a team that they'll have to get through if they want to, I think at this point, a realistic goal is to try and get up into a top 3 or 4 seed in the East for the rest of the year. And so I don't know, I'll just be really interested to see how these two teams match up. I haven't really thought of the 76ers. I don't think they played them yet this year. So it'll be an interesting 2-game set.
Yeah, I think I'm not really worried about an older Paul George and older Joel Embiid. I think the key to this is going to be Tyrese Maxey, because of the Cavs being dead last in opponent 3-point percentage. Tyrese Maxey is averaging just under 10 threes a game and hitting them at a 40% clip. So they're really going to need to lock down on the perimeter a bit.
Yeah, Tyrese Maxey, I'm looking up some of his numbers now. Skylar gave you the above 40% 3-point shooting. He's averaging 31 points a game, 7 assists. And Embiid he's at 23, 7 rebounds. He's definitely moved into a different stage in his career with just some of his injuries and his mobility limitation, though he has looked a little bit better recently. He's only played in half their games. And then VJ Edgecombe, who I his numbers, I think, don't do him justice. He's 16 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, but he is a really, really good player, albeit a rookie, and somebody I think they're going to really see blossom over the next few years. So, this Sixers team is, I don't even know how to label them, because all their different parts are so. It's like if you were putting together a car with this Sixers team, it wouldn't make any sense, because you would have the engine of a Ferrari, but then the bottom of the body of a Ford F-150, and then the tires of a motorcycle or something. The parts don't seem like they match at all. They're all really different, but they're having success. And as of right now, they're ahead of the Cavs in the standings.
Yeah, they're just directly ahead of the Cavs. I think only a game ahead. So if the Cavs can take care of business against Utah, and then I don't even want to split. I would like to take both, but really give yourself some cushion against Philadelphia and start working your way up till you're back in the Boston Knicks kind of area.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think that just about does it for all of our Cavs coverage here. Should be a good week. Hopefully, like I said, Cavs now 7-3 in their last 10, starting to find some momentum. Let's have a really good week and get this going. All right. So we always like to end our Sunday show with say something nice. If you're going to complain about your sports teams, if you're going to do whatever else you're going to complain about on the internet, you gotta end it by saying something nice. That's our motto. So, Skylar, what's your one nice thing this week?
Yeah. So, Kevin, as you know, I am taking on the task of remodeling my kitchen this year, which is no small feat. I mean, I'm a pretty handy guy. I grew up remodeling homes with my dad, so pretty handy there. But when I put this out there to let people know that I was doing this, a lot of help got offered along the way here. So it's just nice to have some friends that are like, oh, I could come help paint cabinets. I could come help, install that drawer microwave that costs way too much money. I can come help plumb the new sink. Just all the help has come out of the woodworks to offer to be a part of this. And part of that could just be, Midwesterners always want to help each other out and anything like that. But I don't know. It feels really good to have people offer their help without asking for it. Yeah. So I know my dad's coming this week, and we're gonna do the range hood and the microwave and the new sink, and then we'll have somebody come out. One of my other buddies will come out and help paint cabinets. So it's like it's saving me a fortune because I'm not paying anybody to do nothing. But
right,
it's just great to have a community and have people that just genuinely want to help.
For sure. I mean, yeah, nothing better than people offering to help out, just to be kind.
Exactly.
I was going to shout out an organization in my community, which my community is we call it the near west suburbs of Chicago. We're about 10, 12 miles outside of downtown. There's this organization called Children's Community Closets. I discovered them when we were about to have our baby and went over there, and it's just real simple. They try and go around the community as your clothes grow out of stuff. Will you give them to us? We'll organize it and spread them out into the community. I mean, instead of going to a Goodwill and dropping things off at a Goodwill and pay, this is all free. It's all volunteer led. We actually have a couple of the moms that I know at my daughter's school that volunteer there. And so I went right when we were going to have a baby, and I kind of told them like, oh, my wife's 8 months pregnant, just looking for a few, we have some leftover clothes from my, at the time, 4-year-old, but really could use some more like newborn stuff. So just saw this, I'd stop by. They're literally like grabbed my bag and everything they could find that was newborn, 3 months, 6 months. It's just like, I walked out of there with 2 huge shopping bags, and they were so nice. They were helping me find things. The woman, Kara, who I know that volunteers there, like has picked out things while she's volunteering for my daughter, like got her some like Christmas outfits and things like that. And I was thinking about them because as my daughter's now 8 months old, we're packing up all of the 6 months and younger clothes, wanting to kind of return the favor, give it back to them, which is great. But like, it's when you get organizations like that all they want to do is help people out. There's no one's bringing a credit card to this thing. Nobody's like I believe like kids around here who need service after school can get them through this organization. Otherwise it's just people who just want to help out and help, share things among the community that you no longer need. So Children's Community Closet in the west suburbs of Chicago, they're really, really good people over there.
That's awesome. It's awesome to give back and have a good community like that.
Yep. So with that, we're going to get out of here. As always, we appreciate you listening. We appreciate you following us on all the social medias. And if you're not already, please do subscribe to our podcast, both on YouTube and the audio version, wherever you get it, Apple, Spotify, Spreaker, we're on all of them. We will be back actually Thursday morning this week after the first leg of the doubleheader against the 76ers. And for that, as always,
go Cavs.